Last night, to unwind, I decided to organize my CDs alphabetically. And this morning I got up and I thought, you know what? That's not enough like work. So I thought I'd vlog and show you some of my CDs. I have, over the years, collected a huge number of CDs. Some of them are really kind of weird and rare, and I'm proud of them, so I thought I'd show you some highlights today. Let's just dive in with the A's. We got the usuals, you know. Abandoned Pools, Aquabats, Abe Vigoda. Oh! This is a copy of Anamanaguchi's Dawn Metropolis, which I ordered directly from them. They've pressed a label onto it, but it is just like a blue CDR. I've got Animurgency's first album, We Are the Octagonists, and their second album, Wrecked Angles, which I also have as a limited edition vinyl, but I don't have it in this house. Twin Peaks soundtrack by Angelo Badalamenti. I gotta make sure that I don't undo all the work I did last night. The B's! There's some good B's. Bands that begin with B, like Bright Eyes. We got a couple of really, really good Butthole Surfers albums. I'm serious. Locust Abortion Technician is their most experimental, but also kind of their best. My favourite Bibi Clyro album, which is Infinity Land. Also, the 3 singles that they released. My Recovery Injection, Only One Word Comes to Mind, and Glitter and Trauma, with their beautiful cardboard single art boxes. Ben Folds fans, what did you think of Lonely Avenue? I wasn't that impressed. I prefer Way to Normal. But, discuss. Sadly, the re-release, not the really rare original pressing, but the Mark, Tom and Travis show, which is it's just beautiful. It's so... Bing, why don't you collect vinyl like you collect CDs? Because I'm 24. We have some weird promos, rare things here. Cat the Dog, a Crack Out single, a Cars Weapons promo. We have a lot of Cursive. When I was over in the States a couple years ago, I went to Amoeba and just bought up their entire stock of Cursive albums because I was sick of not having any Cursive albums, and I remedied that. D is just full of Deftones and Decemberists. Basically just that. There's a Dan and Aykroyd album in there that I don't really like. Actually, worth mentioning, Death in Vegas, who are a big inspiration for High Five Spaceship stuff. Oh ho ho! Just gonna refocus here. 2 really embarrassing Elliot Morris albums. He used to just be a chin. Sorry, Elliot, but I'll make it up to you right now. Elliot Morris has some new music out. I will include a link to it on iTunes. He's one of my oldest friends, and he is the best guitarist I know, and he's only got better with age. And I really, really recommend checking out his music and checking out his live performances on YouTube. This is another of my favorite things that you won't know about at all. It's an album called There Are No Happy Endings by Angelica. British band. They sound a bit like if you crossed Cooper Temple Claws with System of a Down. I know what you're saying, like, dang, that sounds weird, that would be weird. But it's amazing. And shut up. That voice is annoying. Is it honestly first thing in the morning? Bing, that's what you get, and I haven't done this in a while. This album is mostly written from the point of view of children. It's about their experiences growing up, and it's about what you take with you from childhood into adulthood, and how none of us really ever learn to deal with some things. To that end, a lot of the lyrics are really, really deliberately bad rhymes, like they're made up on the spot, like they're nursery rhymes on a playground. When I first listened to it, I thought, why are they ruining this incredible music with these terrible lyrics? And I basically just kind of chucked it to the back of the pile and didn't pay attention to it. And then I dug it up and I listened to it again, like a year later, and it stuck. And now it's one of my favorite albums of all time. In fact, I want to stop vlogging and just listen to this album now. But I won't! Fuck Buttons, Foo Fighters, Flaming Lips. Oh, Gorillaz fans, are you aware that shortly after the success of the first self-titled Gorillaz album, they commissioned a band called Space Monkeys to dubify the entire album? It's such good chill out music. I want more bands to do that. If every popular release just had an official dub version, you just outsource the dub version to someone else. but it's like mandatory. I really love the Hives. I did a cover of a Hives song from this album, but I don't think it really conveyed how much I really love this album because I chose to take it in a different direction. It's a fine album. It is a gentleman's album. Okay then, what's over here? Couple of historic Incubus albums. We got the latest Jaga Jazzist, which I imported because they are not from here. I was going to include it on my list of albums that changed my life, but it narrowly missed. But I just I have to. 2020 Part 1 and 2 by Justin Timberlake are amazing albums. They're brilliant. They're concept pop. They know exactly what they are. They strive to be bigger and better than anything you would associate with that kind of genre, while still retaining everything that makes Justin Timberlake's musical presence him and his. And I like the first part more than the second part, but you know, I keep waiting to get bored of them and I don't. I just kind of scroll by default to that album and start playing when I'm walking somewhere. I got no excuse and I don't need one. Then the flip side, okay? I'm just gonna... We have every single Korn album that they've ever made, except the really bad ones. I love Korn. I love Korn. I've tried many times to describe why I love Korn. Honestly, as an adult music lover, there is something that a band like Korn can offer that no other band can. There's a rawness, particularly in the first couple of albums. I hold up Life is Peachy as an example of why I love Korn, because it is raw, it is bizarre, it is experimental. If you care to actually listen to it, it is experimental. It's written off though by a lot of people as angry 90s nu metal, and if anything I think it has more in common with jazz than it does with rock. As an exercise, if you have access to this album, go listen to it. Listen, parental guidance, listen to the drums. That is not rock drums. That's something different. That is something completely unique. I love it, the noise, the production, it's great, it's all great. Spent too long talking about Korn. Everyone thinks you're insane. Another trip down memory lane. In the L pile, we have Linkin Park. I'd just like to go out on a limb now as well. I'd like to go out on another limb, if I may, if that's okay with you, Limb Police, and say that my favorite Linkin Park album, the one that really lasted, the one that stuck with me, yeah, it's Reanimation. The remix album. It's a really, really competent hybrid hip-hop album. It was one of the earliest times in my life that I can point to and say, hip-hop's pretty good. I could enjoy hip-hop. It was something new, it was something different, and for the audience that it was speaking to, mind-blowing. If you let it blow your mind, it will blow it. Modest Mouse, MGMT, Mogwai. Oh, since we're embarrassing Bing, I should mention that I also really, really love Satellite by POD. Yeah. Payable on Death, the Christian nu metal band. This album cost millions to produce, and you can hear every cent. It is so well made. The definition of early 2000s Pro Tools, ultra clean, beyond perfection, kind of soulless, but at the same time so intense. You kind of love it. Plus the songwriting isn't that bad. I'm not petty enough to not like it because they're preaching to me. That's lame. Just enjoy the music. Another one of those parts of my collection that I'm really, really proud of is my sub-collection of Placebo singles. I don't have all of them here. Particularly the ones from Black Market Music are beautiful and have really good B-sides. They look like this, and they released 2 versions of each single with different B-sides. I recommend any Placebo fan go and track down copies of these singles because they're just lovely little collector's items. I'm 24 now, right? Am I allowed to make noises like that when I move around? You know, the you know, people getting out of chairs. When you sit down, you announce you're sitting down like like that. Am I allowed to do that? I have 2 copies of Songs for the Deaf, standard and a collector's edition. To be honest, I would have hundreds of copies of this album because I think it's one of the finest albums ever released by anyone in the entire history of music. But I don't have enough money to buy hundreds of copies of it. If you have a spare copy of it, send it to me. I'll start amassing a little collection. And then Innuendo, my favorite Queen album. Innuendo's where it's at. Bohemian Rhapsody can suck it. The entire output of Reuben. That should have gotten to university. The B-Sides and Rarities album. Very Fast, Very Dangerous. The original Race Car is Race Car Backwards. In Nothing We Trust, and we have loads of freaking singles. In Rainbows by Radiohead. My favorite Radiohead album. I'm not a purist. They left their contract and proceeded to make their finest album. We got some Ray and Christian here that I only bought because they were in a Fanta ad. 2 things that I want to show you for completely different reasons. One is the first Rasmus album. People roughly my age will know the Rasmus as that stupid emo pop punk band with the singer with the feathers in his hair who had that one single about being in the shadows. Before they looked like that and sung stupid crap like that, they were a really, really fun-loving boy rock jazz band, and they were all like 16 or 17 when they released their first album in 1996 called Peep, which looks like this. And on the back, they're all like cross-dressing and chilling out. On the inside, they look like nerds. And it's really fun stuff. They have a track, in fact, called The Funky Jam, which is the funnest track on the whole album. It's like ska jazz rock, and they're all really good at it. And then a combination of them growing up, presumably getting management who wanted to package them differently, and various other things, created the horrible band that everybody knows them as. But it's okay because I own one of the most influential albums of all time, Refused The Shape of Punk to Come, a chimerical bombination in 12 bursts. It is the Bible that all present day post-hardcore bands read from. I'm talking Paramore, I'm talking Fall Out Boy, I'm talking Anave. Every single one of them in some way read from this book and will list them among their influences. If not directly, then they will be influenced by a band who were influenced by Refused. I wear it as a hat out of respect. This is it. I mean, this is the genesis. This is the alpha and the omega of half the music that I listen to. And it was one of those albums that when I first heard it, it changed me. Also in the art pile, Robert Gillies' new album, The Distance. He's currently Indiegogoing a physical release of this. I'll include a link down there as well, because he makes beautiful music. The S pile, as you can see, is quite substantial. It's mostly The Strokes, Slipknot, System of a Down, C.O. Rose, and my dad. In the spirit of limb going out-ons, I would also like to say that the first 3 System of a Down albums are nearly perfect, and that the other 2 don't exist. I can listen to System of a Down, Toxicity, and Steal This Album in a row on a long journey, and when it's over on that final crescendo, it's like coming out of the water having held your breath for so long. The V-pile contains Italian band Verdina, who I absolutely love. They're like a mixture of Queens of the Stone Age, Rival Schools, Mars Volta, and Audioslave all combined, but with Italian words. We have Wheatus, which everyone my age should own somewhere. We have a few Weezer albums, including my favorite, Pinkerton. A relatively new favorite of mine, The Weeknd. Kissland is so good. We got this I don't really know who they are. I think they, the double X's? That can't be right. Highlights from this end of the alphabet are classics like Yes, who I listened to a lot growing up because they were one of my parents' favourite bands, and a British band called Your Codename is Milo, who have influenced me a lot. This is their first EP. This is my favourite of their studio albums, Ignoto. I pitch it as out metal wrapped in plastic. This is Print is Dead Volume 1, a collaborative album where Your Codename is Milo recorded with different people over the course of a very short amount of time and produced 12 tracks of completely unique, interesting music with their contemporaries. This is one of the big reasons that I am doing a collaborative album, because it's fantastic and it's greater than the sum of its parts, and I can hear how much fun they had making it. And when Milo split up, I was more disappointed that I wouldn't get Print is Dead Volume 2 than I was about a studio album. And so, in a way, I like to think that the album I'm making is my Print is Dead Volume 2. That's about it, really. That's about it for now. I've talked about music far too long. And I'm gonna go listen to Sing by Travis.